All right, welcome everybody to this GoFleet webinar. My name is George. I will be the moderator for our ZenduOne mobile application webinar. With me on this bridge, I have my colleague Afra. Afra is going to be actually making the presentation. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Afra. And please, if there's any questions throughout the entire process, you do have the Q&A box off to the left-hand side. Pop in any of the questions. We'll have a Q&A session towards the end. And without further ado,
Thanks, George, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone, to another GoFleet ZenduWith monthly webinar. Again, my name is Ahmed Afra. I'm a product manager here at GoFleet ZenduWith, and we have some exciting news and updates to share with you today. So our main topic is the launch of the ZenduOne mobile application, which we will dive into shortly. So throughout this session, we will go over the launch of the application, what is ZenduOne, the apps hosted on ZenduOne, and just give a quick recap on managed services. So we listened to your feedback and challenges of having access to your ZenduWith application while on the move with no laptop or desktop around. So we took this to the lab and came back with our new ZenduOne mobile app, which is now available for you to download on both iOS and Play Store and access your solution on the go. So with that being said, fleet and safety managers are now able to have complete insight over their fleet's operations, as well as drivers now, they have a platforms to review their performance from everywhere. Eventually, all of your favorite ZenduWith application will be on ZenduOne. However, we are currently hosting the following 5 here. And to kick it off, we're going to start with the asset module. So with the asset module, fleet managers will now have complete insight over all their vehicles distribution from location, historical trip, as well as the ability to live stream the cameras within the vehicles, thus allowing the manager to have complete oversight on the application itself. As for the video review module, whenever you get rules triggered and escalated either through email, SMS, now you're able to review those footages and action them out with a few clicks on the phone without having the need to hop on a laptop or PC. So you can coach your drivers while on the go. And not only that, but drivers also will now have a platform where they be able to check their violation and even have the opportunity to enhance their driving. So what we're looking to accomplish here to have a more proactive approach and give accountability to the drivers for them to be able to action out those violations that they break and take that as a learning curve to better their performance on the road. As for our Timecard application, which is a payroll timekeeping app, so fleet managers now, while they're in a meeting or they're busy, now they have the ability to glance over their driver's hours and also make sure that they're within that hours of service limits, so they don't go over it. And not only that, for a customer that have the Timecard application, now their drivers can clock in, clock out without the need of having NFC readers or NFC tags, thus reducing the fleet's cost on any excess hardware and allowing the drivers to check their payroll and make sure that it is correct. Moving on, so whenever drivers are doing their driver DVIR inspections, and in the case of any defect within the vehicle, drivers can now, through our ZenduMA app, can create the work orders or work requests from anywhere on the road, and thus having real-time kind of like submission of those issues before they become severe and hinder any fleet operations. And finally, we have our dashboarding within ZenduOne. So we're providing also, again, insight for all of your activities and performances that are fed through Geotab and your other ZenduWith applications. Diving into manage services, for safety managers that are going through the trouble of looking through 8 hours of footages and reviewing those videos, want to shed light on this service that we provide, managed services, and how we can do the work for you and only escalate issues that need your attention. So how does it work? Whenever a rule is triggered, our team is going to assess those footages and check for any violations In the case it's a faulty event, those issues are gonna get dismissed. However, when escalated, this event is gonna show up in both your feed and the driver's feed, where either one can action it out and be able to coach the event itself. So, bottom line, what we're trying to accomplish here is we want to streamline the process in a way that you're only going to get notified whenever your input is needed. And we're excited that this application is going to fully launch this upcoming Monday. But I also encourage all of you guys to go ahead, install it, play around with it, and provide us any feedback or comments about it. And that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. For the next couple minutes, we're inviting questions and comments from everyone, so feel free to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Alpha. Very informative. We do have a number of questions here. One of the questions coming through from an attendee is, how do we get started?
So it's pretty simple. Whenever you download the app, you have many options to log into your platform or to your applications here. You can do it either from your phone number. So all you need to do is to edit your user profile on Trax or ZenduCam in that case here, add your phone number, and you'll be able to dive in right to the application that you have. Or you can log in with your Geotab credentials or your ZenduOne credentials.
Awesome. And we do have a number of other questions here, so I'm just going to get through each one by one. Sorry if anybody has preference here, but one of the questions is clearances, driver versus manager views and capabilities.
Got it. So not all apps have those clearance. Not all apps have driver's clearances. Some do, others don't. And it's managed from. So let's say if you have Trax, if you're an admin, you're gonna have access to all your applications, right?
Right.
However, if you're a driver on Trax, you're gonna have access to only the feed that you get on the video review. So you won't able to see other drivers, other coworkers kind of events that they trigger. You're gonna only see yours. And same with like we showcased throughout this presentation, like for our time card application, a manager or an admin is gonna able to see all the driver's hours, whereas a driver specifically is able to clock in and clock out and take action only for himself. So if you're an admin, you have oversight of all the application, all the solutions. If you're a driver, you only have limited access to some applications, including Timecard and the video review module, and with limited kind of access.
Got it. Perfect. I hope that answers your question there. Now, there was another interesting comment slash question here.
Mhm.
For coaching, is it possible to have acknowledgement based on a good driving score versus strictly items to be coached on in terms of punishments?
So the way it works, George, right, is that first of all, with our safety trend kind of feature on tracks, is
Yeah.
the way it works is that we have it set up that if you didn't commit any kind of incidents, right, you're gonna have a kind of like a clean slate, right? But if you do uh, trigger those events, the way it's gonna work, we're gonna send that to you. So let's say George, you're the driver. I escalate those events either myself or through managed services, right? You're gonna get those feeds, and you'll be able to action it out yourself and like coach yourself in that instance to better your driving like I mentioned before. So we don't have like a like you mentioned, like a good kind of rewarding for drivers, but at the same times we do provide the platform for them to action out their own event and be proactive about their own driving.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. Thanks. I hope that answers your question there. Does the app need to be running at all times while the driver is operating the vehicle?
They don't need to. Depends on what kind of applications you're looking into. So, with that being said, like a video review module, you're gonna get through SMS or email or even through the in-app notifications that an event is triggered and for you to check it out. But besides that, you can access it at whatever time you want. It doesn't need to be active at all time in the background.
Awesome. Perfect. Can the drivers create work orders through the ZenduMA DVIR feature?
So the thing is with ZenduMA, because it's based on user licenses, and those user licenses are paid for kind of features, right?
Right.
The way we have a workaround for it is that drivers that are not quote unquote users with licenses can create a work request which comes in as a pending work order on the manager's feed on Zendu maintenance, whether through the app itself or through the web application. So through the mobile or the web application. So we are still providing that kind of content of the driver reporting those defects and DVRs within real time, whether they are users on the platform or on the application ZenduMA or not.
Got it. Perfect. So they act as a secondary sort of eye to any potential issues that can arise.
Correct.
Awesome. Perfect. I believe, let me just make sure that I went through the list correctly here and I didn't miss anybody's question. There is one more question. I think you brought it up in the presentation, but when and where will these apps be available to download? Apple Play versus Apple Store versus Google Play, sorry.
So right now, they're both available. The app is available on both the iOS and Play Store, and
Awesome.
we're fully launching the application as of this Monday. So
Got
this
it.
is more of like a teaser, kind of like webinar here.
Got it. And is there a cost to the application?
There's no cost. Like what you see on your feed is what you actually paid for through the solutions that you already have. So whether it's Trax, Geotab, etc., all these applications are gonna be shown within your ZenduOne application with no cost at all.
Got it. So it's a visual feed with the services that you're already paying for.
Correct. So, and George, keep in mind, right, and even like the audience here, like the main kind of reason or drive for the mobile application is just for you to have easy access, easy visibility on your fleet's operations at all time wherever you are, because it is a hassle having a laptop or desktop around to access those features.
Got it. Perfect. So thank you so much for your question, guys. For just give me one more second. Let me just go through the list one more time to ensure I haven't missed anything. I think we have gone through all of the questions. For all the attendees, there will be the recording that is shared with everybody roughly an hour to an hour and a half after the presentation has completed. Within the sharing of the recording, you will obviously have the ability to view it at any time. And if there's any questions, if you guys are interested in downloading it prior to the Monday launch day, please reach out to your customer success rep, and they will happily walk you through any and all of the questions that you guys may have.
Hey George, I think we have one question
Oh,
in the
it
feed.
just came in. Yes. How are third-party apps loaded, distracted driving, etc.? Is it through Geotab or ZenduOne?
So in that case here, what do you define third-party apps? Like, is it the ZenduWith apps only, or is it like other marketplace kind of applications? Can you elaborate more on this?
We'll give it here a couple seconds to see if we get another hit.
Okay, I'm gonna take assumptions here. With that being
Driving app.
distracted driving app. So in that case here, the way it works is whether you have Trax or ZenduCam as a standalone, or you have Geotab, we link those to kind of like your profile as a customer, right? And from that point on, you'll be able to access them through your application. So third-party applications that are non-ZenduWith, or if it's not Geotab, won't be shown on the ZenduOne application. But if you mentioned distracted driving, I'm not sure if you're referring to the app itself or the event itself. Uh, some can be a standalone and some can be loaded into Geotab directly. Correct. So everything that is ZenduWith related is gonna show up on your feed, whether you have it as standalone or whether you have it as Geotab. And keep in mind that for now we only have those like 5 applications, right? And but moving forward, all your other apps are gonna be there if you have any one specific in mind right now. But if it's standalone or if it's through Geotab and you have those Zendu applications, they will show up on your feed.
Perfect. Thank you so
Hopefully
much.
that answers your questions, and if it doesn't, please let me know.
We'll give it a couple seconds here to see if they pop in an answer in the chat. Let's just go on assumption and say that so correct me if I'm wrong. Distracted driving solution is not available right now.
Distracted driver solution. Distracted driving is like, at least the way I know it, is the events that come in through your Z6 cameras, right? Which is like the driver AI kind of events, right? If that's not the case, I'm not sure which distracted driving application you're referring to in that case here. If you want to, you can reach out to myself directly. We can talk more about this, but correct me if I'm wrong here.
I'm going to base this off an assumption. I think they're discussing or mentioning the distracted driving events that are captured and pushed to Trax.
Correct.
Or
So all these will show up in your video review module feed. So any event that triggers a video, you'll be able to check it out from your from your mobile application, and you'll be able to coach your drivers or even dismiss the events if they're faulty.
and on the driver coaching app, so the driver would receive the notification that he has been coached, if
Correct.
that makes sense to
Correct.
the rest of your question there.
So hopefully that answers that.
I think we have gone through all of the questions here. To the attendee that was asking this question, I'm going to include Afra's email in. Oh, perfect. There we go. Afra, I'm going to copy and paste the email from the chat box here and send it to you.
All right, sounds good. I will definitely reach out in that case here, and we can elaborate more on this over a Google Meet call.
Perfect. Awesome, everybody, all the attendees. It's been a pleasure. I hope this was an informative session. I'm going to give it one more second here just to ensure we don't miss anything in the Q&A chat. And I think we're good. Afra, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for all the information. To all the attendees, as I mentioned, you will be receiving a recording of this session. And at any point in time, for whatever questions you may have, please feel free to reach out to your GoFleet Success Manager. They will be more than happy to walk you guys through a demo, through the presentation, or answer any specifics you guys may have. That being said, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure from myself and Afra. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next GoFleet webinar.
And George, just before we wrap this up, also for any kind of like updates and news on what we're coming up with, make sure you subscribe to our blog where we post monthly updates on what ZenduOne's been up to, what do we have in mind, and even just like best practices on the platform. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to our blogs.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.